Hey, this is the Pizza here, and I'm going to be showing my very first Necropolis of Mirrors run. So, this is the first time I've ever shown my first run of any dungeon from any game, and it was definitely a learning experience. So, we started off with a group of mid-30s and high 30s, and this was the first run for a few people in our group, so we were all a bit apprehensive. And right off the bat, after the first room with the group of monsters, the next room has your very first boss in Necropolis of Mirrors, Magister Gumas. And so, this being the first run for many people in our group, we hung back for a while and planned out what we were going to do and designated that I was going to be the tank, being the only knight in the group. But when we started to fight him, I lost the aggro because we had so many DPS people in our group, and our warrior took the aggro. So we were fighting Magister Gumas, and he's your average boss, nothing real interesting, but he does have dark power release, which will do a lot of damage to everyone in the group if you don't silence it. And there's one more boss that we fought, who you'll definitely want to silence, and I'll show him later. So our warrior took aggro, and as you can see, he's the person at the top of the party list on the right. He died, so all the mages, since they were doing so much DPS, began to take aggro. And so he started killing off our mages one by one, until I finally got aggro back. And then we start to do better, and you can see his health is very low at this point. And so here comes dark power release. So he casts it, and you can see everyone's health go down very quickly. And then I die, and his health was actually at 0, but for some reason he continued to fight and actually wiped out our party as he was at 0 health. So we had to redo Magister Gumas, and this time we did down him. I decided not to show the fight since I already showed us down him all the way to 0 HP. And if you look in the lower right hand corner, just a few seconds back, you'd see one of the things he dropped. It's part of the Necropolis of Mirrors set. So we continued on to the dungeon, and there's these enemies called Shadow of Desire. They will target person and turn them into a chest, which you'll see there. And that person can't do any attacks, and I don't think they take damage though, but they immediately lose aggro. So we just fought our way through the dungeon, and there's quite a few Shadows of Desire, so you want to make sure you don't pull too many at once so not a lot of people get turned into chests. So here you can see a Necropolis of Mirrors map. And the red line is pretty much the path we took through there. Magister Gumas is indicated by the yellow arrow. And so the path we took is pretty straightforward through the dungeon. We didn't really explore much, just kind of pushed through all the way to the big bosses at the end. And here we are near the giant room at the end of the map. And something I found interesting about this dungeon was that giant space at the end isn't actually a room. It's actually outdoors. So I found it cool that there was an outdoor part to a dungeon. I'd never seen that before. And it was pretty cool. And even cooler when we got to see what was in that giant outdoor space, which happened to be 2 bosses, both very difficult for our group to be able to kill. So here you can see us emerging out of the dungeon into the outdoor area. And it's full of level 35 monsters. They're not even elites, so you can just wipe those guys out with no problem. And you see that giant pit at the center? That's where the 2 bosses are, and they roam around the pit, so don't expect them to just stay in one place the entire time. And the giant orange one is the one we decided to take on. So here's really when the battle began. We pulled them off to the side to make sure that the second boss wouldn't get on us, or else we were really screwed. And I knew I wasn't going to be able to hold aggro, so once again the warrior was tanking him for most of the time. I did some secondary healing, and also some damage. You can see my mana just draining down while I'm trying to get out all my damage spells. And so we're all just pounding on him, and his health isn't going down fast at all. Also, he has some ads, which are just those level 35-ish monsters that you fought coming into this area. So they're nothing to worry about, and you can just wipe those out with one good AoE spell. And yeah, you can see our warrior taking a lot of damage, and our priests are struggling to keep him healed. And you see one person go down there. I think he took aggro for just a couple seconds too long. And one of our people actually disconnected. And there goes our warrior. Now he's going after our mage, who is, as you can see, running around, trying not to take as much damage as possible, while our priest is desperately healing. And this is not going well at all, so we pretty much knew we were screwed. But we just continued fighting anyway. And the person at the bottom of our party list actually disconnected, so they reconnected outside of the dungeon. So that's another little disruption in our plan. And now it's just me, the priest, and I'm dead. Now the priest is next. So that was our second wipe. And so we tried him again. This time with a level 50 mage at the bottom of the party list on the left. So we're getting him down pretty low now. And he casts his Dark Power Release. Now watch the party list, and watch all of our health go down extremely fast. There it goes, and as you can see, even our level 50 mage was brought down to about 1/4 health. Then just a few more attacks and he was dead. So you'll definitely want to silence that, or else it could be devastating to your party. So with our level 50 mage gone, most of our DPS was also gone. And now he started to target everyone else. And we got wiped again. And so with our third wipe, we decided to call it a day. And that ended my very first run of Necropolis of Mirrors.